Welcome to Shielded Voices, the podcast where we break the stigma, build resilience, and support the men and women who serve our communities. I'm Mitch, a dedicated law enforcement professional with over 8 years of full-time experience and a combined 15 years of experience in law enforcement. My journey began as a police cadet, a reserve police officer, and now I am a full-time deputy. I am a defensive tactics instructor, an emergency vehicle operations instructor, and a former drug recognition expert. Now, I'm here to share the conversations that matter the most.
And I'm Brian, a deputy with over 15 years of service. I bring my experience as a defensive tactics instructor, emergency vehicle operations instructor, field training officer, a member of the riot team, as well as the narcotics team as a liaison. I'm also a veteran of the United States Army, and I am passionate about faith, family, and supporting our brothers and sisters in law enforcement.
Together, we're here to share stories, insights, and real talk about the challenges and triumphs of life in law enforcement. Whether it's breaking down the barriers around mental health, reflecting on our own shared experiences, or providing tools for growth and recovery, we're here to have the conversations that matter.
Our goal is simple: to support first responders, foster open communication, and remind everyone in this community that they are never alone. This is a space for growth, connection, and building stronger voices together.
Thank you for joining us. Let's dive into today's episode where we continue to break the silence. Last time we left off with Angela, who, up until that point, was a rule-following, service-driven firefighter, flying herself to San Diego and getting smuggled across the border in a van full of strangers to do mushrooms in Mexico. Yeah, that's where we left off. What happens next is a story about surrender, sacred discomfort, and what it really takes to face the pain we buried under uniforms, job titles, and the I'm fine responses. In part 2, Angela opens up about her psychedelic journey, how it shattered the version of herself she thought she had to be, and how it laid the foundation for her to help others to do the same through the SIREN Project. This is where the healing begins. Let's get into it.
I flew myself down to San Diego and got smuggled across the border in a little van with a bunch of people I'd never met before to Tijuana and Rosarito and did drugs. Mind you, I'm pretty square. Like, I've never done drugs in my life. I don't smoke cigarettes. Like, I might have a glass of wine twice a month. I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Let's go do mushrooms with strangers in Mexico, because that's where we are today.
I mean, but that's a testament. That's how, for lack of a better term, how bad off you were, right? Like, I mean, you're at wit's end. Like, nothing is doing, like, I can't keep living like this. So, and I'm the same as you. Like I've mentioned, we did 2 full episodes with, and I'll say his name, Rob Pointer, who went through, like, you know who he went through the SIREN Project. And like, I laughed, but it also scared the shit out of me. The stuff that when he talked about, it scares the fuck out of me, because I'm the same. I've never done a drug, never nothing. Now, I like my whiskey, don't get me wrong, but the things he's telling me, I'm like, nope. I'm not facing those demons, not a fucking chance. Nope.
If you're a control freak like me,
yes,
it's rough.
See? Oh, no. So what's that? So you I guess continue on with that. You jump in this van and you get, quote unquote, smuggled across the border.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about, like, what happened?
Yeah. So I think, like, from the time I got the number and called them, like 2 weeks later, they're like, we had a late drop, so jump on in. So I probably didn't prep right. I didn't do all this stuff, because that's what people don't understand. This is not magic. You don't take these and all of a sudden you're better. It's a lot of work. It's kind of like, we're going to give you a blank canvas and a bunch of paint, but you have to actually recreate everything to the way you want it to be. So your brain is like clay, and you have to help rewire it. They talk about shaking up the snow globe. You have tracks in the snow, and you got to shake up the snow globe to give you a fresh slate to rewire. And that's talks about the default mode network in the brain. If you ever read or heard of How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan?
Yes.
You need to read it, even if it's on audio, and do the Netflix documentary on it, because it really explains what's going on in the brain when you have post-traumatic stress, and how psychedelics help you rewire around it, and neuroplasticity and all of that. So I didn't put in as much work beforehand as I should have. So when I did my mushrooms, my grandmother did not come out of, the smoke and give me her wisdom like I had expected, because I went,
Right.
it's like, grandma's going to tell me how to fix this shit. No,
No.
I had just psychedelic colors, nothing special. There was a few like almost visible creatures moving around and like
I'm out.
like imagine like a kaleidoscope and all the colors are all weird.
Yeah.
And like there was some red and there was some blue and there was like maybe like a little snake going through it, but it wasn't like coming at me. It was like looking at it at the end of a kaleidoscope. Like
Gotcha. Okay.
So it wasn't coming at me or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I had. And I pretty much had my face down in a pillow because everything makes me nauseous. Even like everything makes me nauseous. So I was just nauseous the whole time, which they'll tell you that's your body's way of wanting to purge. So I probably should have just let it, but I didn't.
Let it happen. Yeah.
Let it happen, which if you do ayahuasca, you don't have a choice. Good luck with that. It's a whole different.
Yeah.
Because the psilocybin is known as the children, right? That's gentle. So it's a nice starter for people like us who've never done anything before. Ayahuasca is the grandmother and ibogaine is the grandfather. We have people coming to us like, we need ibogaine. And I'm like, pump your brakes.
Right.
You don't need to kill a mosquito with a cannon. How about you start off with something easier? The only time I would ever tell anyone like, go for ibogaine is if you have a history of like TBIs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, or opioid addiction. Because
okay.
that needs a bigger push to get through, but there's just no need to push yourself that hard.
Right.
You can get it done with ayahuasca and psilocybin and the work that you're going to put in. So the psilocybin wasn't that bad. It was like 5-6 hours of feeling nauseous and like you don't have a great concept of time. And there's just all the colors, everything looked brighter.
But what's happening? Like, because people that are listening that don't really know about, the only thing we all, as cops, we know about psilocybin is like, well, you're just getting fucking high. Like, what's the therapeutic purpose of that? Is it unlocking something? Is it like?
So it's kind of like, how do I explain this? It is making your brain grow more neurons, right? So if your chemicals going in your brain and it's encouraging, like you can talk about all this stuff we do for our body to get muscle growth and get bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
This is kind of doing that in your brain. So this is going to be a long explanation. I'm going to do the best I can to abbreviate it.
I got time.
If they do an autopsy on a monk, for example, that meditate all the time, they actually have more folds in their brain. Like when you look at the brain, those wrinkles, there's more wrinkles in their brain. The physical layout of their brain is different from meditation.
Interesting.
Doing more introspective work and focusing on your breathing and your breath and your body. Okay. That's what your brain is doing when you're meditating. People who say they're doing it wrong. No, you just got to focus on your breathing. Anything skin inwards, it's a different part of your brain that you need to tap into. When you do the medicine, you're encouraging more neurons to grow. And if you've done the pre-work and you go through the medicine, you can actually help the neurons grow in a more healthy train of thought. And bear with me on this. So think of your muscles and your brain as the same thing. There are neurons telling your muscles to fire, just like there's neurons in your brain firing that come out as thoughts. You don't think about it when you walk from point A to point B. It just happens because of a muscle memory. Your brain does the same thing throughout the day. You have a muscle memory in your brain of your thought processes. It's also why we choose certain verbiages as we talk. We don't think about every word we're going to say. It's a muscle memory. So you have a muscle memory in your thoughts. You have 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Statistically, 80% are negative. So what you're training yourself to do is be more positive, because when someone goes into crisis of anxiety or depression and they're at a 7, let's say, the 1 through 10 scale, they're at a 7, 8, they're in crisis. The fact of the matter is they were at a 1 or a 2. They missed it. They were unaware of whatever triggered them and unable to bring themselves back down until they were already in crisis mode. So when you do the medicine, you rewire your brain to be more aware of your body, your breathing, the tension. How often are you guys sitting here and you realize you're clenching your jaw or your fists or your shoulders are like this in your ears and you're unaware of it?
It's interesting you say. I don't know if you've watched. Every now and then I move my head because I was taught early. I taught through therapy and caught early on. You're not wrong, and I'll call it what is. My jaw, my shoulders, and 100% of human beings, from what I understand, it's going to sound weird, they're sphincter.
Oh,
I'm not joking. And they're clenched all the time. That's stress. That's your body. It's your shoulder, everything. Tension. And it's like, God, relax, for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
no, it's just funny you bring that up, because I was not 5 seconds before you said that, I went in my brain, I'm like, relax your shoulders, because I can see myself in the camera. I'm like, what are you doing?
But people
That's
do it
crazy.
throughout the day. Like you hold tension in your body. I would challenge people to say, pick a day, any day, and just throughout the day, keep checking in. Are your shoulders down?
Yep.
Check your breathing. Because when you're holding that tension and that you're holding that, it is building. You're unaware of your body and how you're feeling. Each emotion you have lasts for 90 seconds. If you have an emotion that lasts longer than that, you are perpetuating that with your own inner dialogue. That 7,000 thoughts a day that are negative, that you need to, sorry, 80% of those are that are negative. That's a muscle memory that you need to consciously change. I like to use the example of Charles Barkley's golf swing because it is jacked up. He has a horrible muscle memory. Now, anybody who plays any sports knows if you have a bad habit, what do you do to fix it? You do some sort of brace or you over exaggerate, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right. Like, I'm going to do this. So I'm really going to over exaggerate this other mechanic in order to correct it. It's the same thing with your mind. You have a muscle memory like a Charles Barkley golf swing. If you have PTS stress, post-traumatic stress injury, you have poor muscle memory in your brain for your thought processes. You have to be aware, one, that sometimes you're feeling sad because your hormones are off, and you have to acknowledge that. You have to enlist some self-care. What does that mean? Yoga, breath work, meditation, all of these things that bring your focus inward. One of my favorite things when I'm starting to lose it, grounding. You just sit there and go through the 5 senses. What do I see, smell, taste, hear, feel, whatever? Because it brings you to right now. And whether you believe it or not, right now, you're okay. You are. You may not be happy about what's going to happen or what has happened, but you are okay right now. It's important for people in crisis to get back to that spot, but that takes practice. You're not just going to feel better. You have to practice. Oh, something triggered me. I'm aware of it at a 2 or 3. Go for a walk in nature. Go do some breath work. Gratitude is the antidepressant.
Yeah.
We do 3 things we're grateful for every night as a family. And it is great for your mindset. And if you're in a bad mood, that's the best time to do it.
Yeah.
Rewire your brain when you're in a bad. I'm not saying when you're upset, you always have to be up. It's okay to be sad. Just recognize that you need to keep it in perspective. Yes, if your dog just died, that's an appropriate time to be sad.
Of course. Yes.
You know, everyone thinks, oh no, I shouldn't feel. No, it's okay to feel sad. Just try to find the gratitude so you don't go too far down.
There's no such thing. A couple points that I want to touch on. As far as it's okay to be sad, I've always said there's no such thing as a false emotion. A justified emotion, that might be something else. An emotion's, I don't care what your emotion is, there's no such thing as a false emotion. It's just not. It's your body's response. You mentioned grounding and the way you talk about grounding. What I've also read and started doing, my wife and I have both started doing, if you've ever listened to Gary Brecka, if you haven't, please look up Gary Brecka, microbiologist. He does not a medical doctor and says it, but it's such amazing information that has everything to do with gut health, mental health, everything. But in grounding, what he talks about, and my wife and I have both been doing it, is literally ground yourself. Our body is made up of positive electricity. It just is. And I tested this because I come from a low voltage background where working with electricity, where I took a meter, took the black lead, put it in the grounded portion of an outlet, and pinched the positive and watch it go. It's electricity. Now, if you don't ground that and reset that electricity, what's that?
Credits at home, everybody.
Right. No, absolutely try it at home. I'm telling, I mean, I'm not saying stick it in the outlet, the ground portion of the outlet where the round hole is, the black lead. Right, exactly. Yeah. Shielded Voices is not responsible for any injuries that may occur. But we tested it, and then you go outside barefoot, stand on the earth, take that black lead and stick it in the ground, because that's what ground is the earth. And then hold that red lead again. It goes to 0. You're literally, try it. I'm telling you. And what I do every single morning, I grab 10 ounces of filtered water. I walk outside, and even when there was snow, I move the snow out of the way and ground my body while I'm drinking my water. And just ground it. And I can feel it in my knees and hips. And it helps with, and it goes to what you were saying about those neural pathways. Books that I've read, the trauma that we have, the analogy is you've got these neural pathways. Picture them as this, you walk the same path in a field every single day. Well, what happens? The grass wears down. Now it's dirt, rock, mud, whatever. That's every neural pathway in our brain. So what we need to do is stop walking on those neural pathways so that they can regrow. Let the grass grow on them again.
I would say it's almost more like a rut. We've developed a rut, and it's easier. You're going to fall back into the rut because it's easier, right? To go into that path, it's an easier. So it's the muscle memory. And that's why we keep choosing those same paths. And I don't think we necessarily need those to regrow because the connection is faulty, right? It's somehow leading us to
good point.
So we almost want to go a different way around it, which is why when people have TBIs and the little blockages, like physical blood blockages, they need the ibogaine. They need more to push through and
push
around
through that. Good
but
point.
I want to challenge your no false emotion. Just a little tweak.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Because I do like the mindset of like, no, you're valid in how you feel, because validation is big for people when they have big feelings to be able to feel validated and to process and get through it. However, the one thing I would challenge to that is hormones. When you have when you have postpartum depression, when you have any endocrine disruptor that's making like testosterone, I would say that most of the men in the fire service who have 15 plus years on have low testosterone.
Oh, absolutely.
Feel different. And like, I know that I'm all over the place for whatever chemical reason. And there's times I have to go, okay, am I really feeling this? Because like, I'll already feel angry or agitated. And okay, it's that thing in front of me that's making me feel that way. When in fact, no, I felt agitated first. And then I had to look for a justifiable reason for it. I've had to condition myself to go, I'm irritable right now. And there's really no good reason for it. And that's okay. So I need to be aware of that. I need to go through my tools to try to bring myself down. And there's not always a why. I just know that I'm feeling that way, and I need to be careful how I treat the people around me, and not always.
Right. And that's that, like I was saying, it's not necessarily mean a justified emotion. It's just a physiological thing that's happening. It's not fake. It's there. And I agree with you. We've talked about this on past episodes, the testosterone thing, men and women. In first responders, statistically speaking, even in their 20s, is plummeted because of the circadian rhythm being jacked all the hell and hypervigilance all day, up and down, with and including with all the traumas. I mean, Mitch and I both work with guys in their early 20s. These are like special operators, and they're in double digits of testosterone. It's insane. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a thing. I went through, like, I should have been a doctor. I'm not going to lie. I went through, don't shake your head at me, Mitch. I'm like, how about at least WebMD? Give me that. Like, come on. but, you know, I mean, I did so much reading and research because I went through my own issue with TRT treatments, testosterone replacement treatments, thinking I needed it, and I didn't. And it fucked me up bad. Like, I actually medically overdosed unintentionally by a doctor and it was bad. Thinking I'm having heart attacks and being rushed to the ER and so on and so forth. I was just one of those weird anomalies where I was given false information by a doctor. I'm not going to lie. Yes, we can supplement your testosterone. It's not possible. So any of those out there thinking you can't supplement it, you can take extracts and natural things to help your body produce it, but it doesn't. For men, if you're getting testosterone as a replacement therapy, your gonadal production stops because it has everything it needs. It's being replaced. Right. I was a weird anomaly, though. My gonadal production didn't stop, so I was through the roof, and it was bad. But I didn't need it. My overall testosterone was like 700. Like, are you kidding me?
Something.
Yeah, for a 57-year-old dude, that's really good. But anyway, I digress. There's a lot of studies out there in first responders that testosterone is a key component to our emotions, our physical health, and when it's plummeted because of the traumas and the circadian rhythm breakup, bad. But anyway, so going through this treatment yourself, I'm guessing at some point Angela goes, "Well, fuck, it worked for me." I mean, did it work for you the first time around?
No, it did. It wasn't immediate though. Like you have a lot of people come through and they were like, they had the kiwi fruit told them to, whatever. Like we have,
Okay.
I love him. We have a guy that went through and he was arguing with his kiwi after
Oh my gosh.
because it was telling him like, I am food, I am nourishment. Like I'm not for like emotional support. And he had a poor relationship with food, I think. And
Okay.
that, and
Right.
that kiwi just let him have it. So that was,
Wow.
but it worked. Like he's
Hey, yeah.
great. So I would say after the psilocybin, I was not impressed. I was like, cool. I felt nauseous and saw some colors, but I didn't notice anything.
Right.
We did the toad the next day.
Yeah, you're going to have to explain that. We've talked about that on an earlier podcast, and I'm sorry, I laughed my ass off when Rob is like, well, here's this cop with a meth pipe smoking. I'm like, what the fuck?
I wish there was like a different way to do it that didn't have so much connotation to
Stigma. Yeah.
the stigma of like you have this glass pipe and you put the little crystals in it and you smoke it. And I was
Yeah.
there, oh my God, I'm going to hell. Like this is not
Right. Or getting fired. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I did go to hell. So that was fun.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say that I am confident I know what it feels like to die. What this experts will tell you is I had an ego death and my ego fought really fucking hard.
Really?
And I have some control issues. Yeah. So the toad, the smoke, it's the venom of the toad and they put it in this little pipe and they smoke it. And that's just how you do it. And there's vape pens that people do. I have some issues with the vape pens for my own reasons, which I'll get into later. But the pipes, you smoke it. Everyone in my tribe, I think, did 1 or 2 rounds. I did 5. And here's why. When I was doing the round, it first hit me, I remember saying, accept, 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 because I was trying so hard to just let go and accept whatever it needed to do and let it take me wherever I needed to go. But imagine like smashing your thumb with a hammer, and rather than tensing your body up to fight the pain, you have to let go and let that.
Oh.
It was like that. I felt like I had a chain around my neck that was pulling me backwards and it was suffocating me. And at one point I was panicking because I was like, oh, you're dying. You just smoked toad venom, you idiot. Like, of course.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So I think I was trying to break my own neck. I was so sore the next day, all my neck muscles, because I was just arching back and I couldn't breathe and I was panicking. And
there's no way, like, you can't, nobody can bring you out of that. You just got to ride it out.
It's through. You're going to hear that a lot. The only way out is through. And you're not going to get through until you let go. So it's kind of like holding someone's head underwater and saying, I'm not going to let you back up until you let go and just accept this.
Jesus.
That's what it felt like for me. Now,
Yeah.
People will say it's beautiful. It was beautiful. It's what happens when you die. It's where you go. It's amazing love, peace, rainbows coming out your ass. That's what I felt. I think after the second and third round, or third and fourth round, I was in tears because I didn't want to take any more, but I knew I had to. I'd figured out after the first round, I think it was the second round, I figured out, oh, when you let go, like with my eyes closed, I could kind of focus on dark spots. And what I learned was your body is the most relaxed at the bottom of every breath. So when you think you're going to just get to the bottom of the breath and try it with some breath work. When you get to the end of the exhalation, don't tighten anything. Don't take another breath in. Just sit there quietly at the end of the breath. And that is when your body is the most relaxed. And I figured out how to do that under the medicine. And then those dark spots would just dissipate. And I could tell that that was like my pain and my trauma, for lack of a better word, just sort of dissipating. And so I went back in each time, even though each time it was still like the cold plunge into water, and I knew it was going to hurt and it was going to suck, but each time got easier. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to do this shit ever again. I need to get it done now.
Get it done. Yeah.
Here now, I've put in the work. You've come this far. Just get through it. And so I just took all 5 doses that they gave me until I could I could still feel something was stuck. Like when you have a cough and there's something. Yeah. And at one point I remember looking down with my eye shades on. So in my mind's eye, I was looking down at my chest and I saw like blue steam coming off my chest. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then afterwards, Andrea was like, no, there was actually blue steam coming off of your chest. They could see.
What?
She goes, that's why they call it getting it off your chest. So like somehow I know that's all woo woo and I'm not that person, but I actually had steam coming off my chest and that's what they say.
Wow. Like just releasing that energy.
Just releasing all of the negativity. And I mean, if you want to go at the anatomical level, we're all energy, negative, positive neurons. Like that's
hence the reason I said, if you go out and ground yourself, I'm telling you.
And I've always been the more like, I need the science. I need to know mechanically, chemically what's happening. You're just not always going to get that. And there's a spiritual part to this.
Yeah.
A psychological part to this. And I would say it was when I came home afterwards, I had no desire to tell anybody about my experience. It was almost like I felt so good and nothing made me angry. And I was afraid it would go away if I tried to explain it and put it in.
Oh, yeah.
So I just kind of kept it to myself like, no, I feel good. I don't want to talk about my journey. I'm just going to sit here with it and keep processing.
Keep it for you. Yeah.
I would say the second day I came home, I realized nothing could make me angry. And you're not still under. Like 2 days later, it's out of your system. So I wasn't high or anything. I just remember my son can push my buttons. Nothing he did made me angry. I had no anger. And that was the first time, as long as I could remember, that I could go through several days and not be angry. And it was a good solid 2 weeks before I ever felt frustrated again. And that's when it hit me that, wow, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Why is it so hard to access? Because this could have saved so many people's lives.
So many.
Accessible. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of it is, for me personally, my anger issues, what I've realized through therapy, a lot of therapy over the last year is it's actually fear.
Yeah.
It's actually fear. Like I'm scared. And because when I get scared, I get fucking pissed, which is why I made a great cop, right? That's why I made it great doing what I did in the military, because again, there's that courage part of it. And not that I'm this courageous person, but unfortunately, when I get scared, if I get scared that, my wife was angry at me and might walk out the door, I'm actually scared. But how did I react? And of course, the way I reacted just pushes her further out the door, because we're dumb men. I mean, I'll just be honest, but
do it too.
So, what's that?
Women do it too, trust me.
Oh, I know, but I'll be the first to admit that men would not function on this earth if it weren't for women. We would be like, what do we do? We're stupid. Like we just are. So you come through this. Now you're still, are you, when you do this, is this post-retirement or are you still employed at this time?
I was off on workman's comp for shoulder surgery or back surgery. I forget which one, but I was still legally with my department. Yeah. Not officially retired yet, but in my mind, it may be arrogant, but I'm thinking, you know what? I'm a 40-year-old female with almost 20 years on with a PTSD diagnosis, and I am doing this for mental health because I am so far gone. You want to take me to court for this? You want to reprimand this? Fucking bring it.
Bring it.
Like that's what was in my mind. Like I have all the cards in my court. You really want to fight me on this?
Right.
Let's bring it. I will take that fight on every time.
Did you ever was there ever any pushback or fight because of it? Or did you just retire shortly after?
They weren't paying attention to me really.
Shocking.
I was on workman's comp. Like nobody calls you, nobody knows, nobody, I could have died and they'd be like, cool, we're not paying workman's comp anymore.
Jesus. Nobody's calling to check on you. Nobody's. Not
a thing. Nope. The guy from my crew would call, but then there's always like, we don't know if you're busy or what you're doing, but no.
That's a common theme that Brian and I have both seen throughout all of our guests, and something I've experienced.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And my husband,
every single one of them.
Yeah, my husband's pretty upset. He was off on a back injury a year or two ago. He had surgery, and he was pissed. He was like, I think he was even off on PTSD for a little bit, and nobody called. He was really upset. He was like, nobody's calling to check on me. For all you know, I could be suicidal, and no one's checking on me.
Yep.
I was like,
and why? There is no justifiable reason for that. None. I don't give a flying fuck if you're the battalion chief or who. I don't even know what you guys call your highest ranking person. Oh, it has nothing to do with any investigative or anything, political. Check on your people.
Yeah.
Check on your people.
I think chiefs years ago would have. And I was trying to tell, I wasn't really offended that nobody checked on me. I just figured whatever.
Right.
But I was like, I feel like I'm so many degrees away from the chief. Like they have a lot to do. So I'm probably not even on their radar. They probably don't even know.
Sure. They probably didn't even know you're on leave. Yeah.
Right. His department is smaller though. Like I feel like his chief was
Oh.
absolutely aware that he wasn't online.
Oh. Okay.
So
And I will say for me, I mean, I again, I speak truth and transparency. Like I had during my leave, I had a commander call and check on me. That's unheard of. It's absolutely unheard of. So, and there was a group of people that would call and check on me regularly. You know, whether it's texting or calling or whatever. You know, it didn't necessarily leadership. You know, your people, your core group of people.
yeah,
So
I had my crew that would call every once in a while. But I think the other part, and maybe this is why I wasn't so offended by it, is I work with all men, and I realized much of my social structure was married men that I hung out with at work. Boy, that's kind of weird. But I'm like, hey, why don't you come down and have a drink? It's
right.
That like I have all these great guy friends that I love.
Yeah.
I'm realizing now that I'm retired, like that relationship stops. That stays at the department. We can't really, like, I could say hi and I send them Christmas cards, but they're not going to come hang out because they're married men with kids, and that's
right.
And I feel like that factors into like, you should be calling and checking on me. You're married. I'm another.
Yeah. And I mean, it's unfortunate because should it be weird or awkward? Like I still talk to, yeah. Like, I mean, I still regularly talk to, female coworkers, recruits that I've trained that are female, that are very good friends. And obviously there's nothing nefarious. It's unfortunate that things like that have to be weird or awkward.
I made a big deal. I made it a point that anyone I worked with, I made friends with their wives or their girlfriends. And I'm actually really good friends with a couple of them more than their counterparts that I worked with. Just because.
Oh, it's the same here. Like I have a former female recruit who, I mean, she was a recruit and then she, awesome deputy, and then went to a different agency, and we're still friends. But her and my wife hit it off. Like my wife bought her a Shiwi for her FTEP graduation when I passed her through and I'm like, okay, I guess you guys are buddies now. Have a great time. Like, I mean, which is fine.
Angela, we need to hear the story because when we talked on the phone, you said, I don't know if this needs to come up, but it does.
Oh, he's like, it's going to come up. And I was like,
it's perfect timing.
And I was only given a tease about it, and I forgot about it until just now. So I guess what a great segue for Angela's Shiwi story.
Okay.
Why don't you explain what a Shiwi is to the listeners that don't know what it is?
It's a funnel. It's basically a rubber funnel that women can use to pee standing up. And that's what it is. So,
and they work.
Yes, they do. Sorry. I was on a strike team. So for those of you listening in, the strike team is 5 fire engines, basically, with 4 people in each engine and a battalion chief. So we had two people in the battalion chief. We had 20 people, 4 times 5, whatever. I was the only female. So what are the guys doing as we're driving down to LA for whatever fire we're going to, and we're in traffic? They're peeing in the Gatorade bottles. And I can tell you right now, those little Gatorade bottles are 16.9 ounces. You can ask me why I know that later. So I'm sitting there, the only female. I cannot make 6 rigs and 20 people go across 6 lanes of traffic in LA to exit to find a gas station that we'll all fit at with these giant rigs so I can go tinkle. So I'm sitting there in the fast lane, my back teeth are floating, and I'm besides myself. I've never had to pee so bad in my life. And so most of the time when you get on the rig, you have a big bag and you throw it up in the back. I had learned through many strike teams that whenever we arrive where we're going, it's late at night, I'm tired, I just want to shower and get into bed. So I had routinely just picked one little bag with one of everything and put it in the seat behind me so that it would fit in the rig with me. I just grabbed that and go. So in this go bag, as I used to call it, I had purchased a Shiwi. It was called Go Girl, actually. I want some marketing on that in case you sell more. I want Go Girl marketing ad. I put it in.
And this episode of Shielded Voices is brought to you by Go Girl.
Saved my life for sure. So I put it in the bag and I had it, and I'm sitting there and I was like, I have it. I have to use it. I'm losing it. So I turn to the guy, I'm sitting behind the driver, and I turn to the other firefighter next to me, which we're all good friends in this rig, at least we are now. And I said, I need you to finish your Gatorade bottle because I'm going to need more than one. Because I had one empty one, and he's like, I need that bottle. You need to hurry up and finish. So I got these 2 Gatorade bottles, 16.9 ounces, and I'm sitting there, and everyone is doing the awkward, like trying to really, yeah. The guy driving can't see me. I'm on the seat behind him, but I'm turned around and I'm facing my door, and I'm at the seat behind him, and I'm down on my knees, and I got both these bottles ready, and I'm all set up, and then I got stage fright. And I got the giggles, the nerves, because I'm afraid I'm going to pee my pants. Like, it's not going to flow. It's place. Like, what am I doing here? Oh, my captain, who's a good friend of mine, he was like, just fucking go. And I'm like, I can't go, which I've never had in my life. So I'm sitting there. So finally I figured it out, and I was like, I don't know how I did it flawlessly. I was able to go from one bottle to the other, not drip a drop. It worked.
I love it.
Perfectly. And I was able to, like, hazmat skills, one-handed, screw everything back on while I'm still managing everything else. We're going 5 miles an hour. So it wasn't like there was a lot of bumps or like whatever.
Sure.
I filled these both up to the top. TMI, but I did. And
I love it.
Oh my gosh. And yeah. And just made it happen, put everything back together, made it all kosher. And it happened.
And that, folks, is the life of a first responder. It is. I mean, how many times have we, I mean, it's much easier for men. We can stop anywhere and stand up and, we can stand up and pee on a bush somewhere, like whatever. Like, it's,
fuck Egypt, and everyone's just peeing wherever. And I was like, okay, there's no bushes to hide behind. They're all burned down. Like, there's no leaves left on these. Where am I supposed to pee? I can't hide behind anything. So we would just set up a system like, I'm going to go pee here. Y'all are going to go that way.
Right.
I learned, this is off topic, bear with it. Then I learned when you're out in the woods and if you go pee and somehow one of the con crews stumbles into your area, they go back to jail. And it's not even if it's their fault. So I had to be very careful where I went and then tell a few people so that they could keep people away, because these con crew guys could just be doing their job or going pee themselves. And if they got within a certain distance of me, they were automatically.
Oh, yeah.
Jail. And I was like, not cool. So
that's not cool. I'm just trying to pee.
Dude.
So the question is how many people did Angela send back to prison just for pissing in the woods?
Well, I was very considerate, and we'd figure it out. And so that I think a couple of those times, and I was like, there was one other woman on another strike team I was on who had one, and she would just stand up and go, and everything's covered because it's,
wow.
It's I'm like, this is genius. Moments you're like, I'm gonna piss all over myself. This is not natural.
Oh, it's so hilarious. So what's now that we've digressed into peeing in the woods through funnels, so you come through, like, and you mentioned, like, when you were even mentioning coming through that and being back home after going through this these treatments, and that not, I can't imagine, because I've felt similar, but that not having that anger, I mean, talk about a massive relief. That had to have been just like everything was just off your shoulders. It's like you're just like, meh, like, I'm good.
I feel like even though, like, it went away, eventually it took a few weeks for that to go away and for normal feelings to creep back in. What it did was it showed me my potential. Like, you feel like that all the time with discipline and with focus. And that's what I'm talking about, the medicine and the wet paint, right? And the work you put in before and the work you put into integration, you can sustain that. It just takes a lot of work. And it's kind of, the medicine's like, I don't want to say a crutch, but it kind of gets you there. Like, this is what you could do. Now you're on your own to figure out how to maintain it. And that's where the work comes in. And I do falter. I fall off the wagon, and it takes a lot of work to get it all back in there. And that's what people need to understand. It's not a cure. You can do all of this on your own without the psychedelics. The psychedelics are like 50 years of meditation compiled into 5 hours is what it is.
Yeah. One of the, when we were talking to Rob, and he was, talking to me about his journey that he went through during treatment. And I was explaining to him that, it's interesting. I went through a similar journey without psychedelics, just during meditation, and some people can achieve that. And I've only done it once. Obviously, not to the level that psychedelics do, but I was able, for me, um, through some meditation, it was like I had a conversation with my dad, and it was the craziest feeling ever. And I literally looked up. My dad passed away 2 years ago, and I remember I looked up at my wife after I literally, because I laid on the couch with headphones in. I played 732 hertz music, which is there's a certain frequency there, and started this meditation. And I remember just sitting up and looking at my wife, going, "I was talking to my dad." She's like, "What the fuck did you just say to me?" Like, and it was it was real. It was, and then Rob, of course, talked about like through his journey, he was able to unlock some things to get some closure with his own parents or dad, or hell, he even talked about a couple of dogs he had a conversation with. I mean, whatever it is, right? Whatever that trauma unlocks. So I'm as much as I jest about fuck that, I'll never do it. I'm not. Please don't misunderstand me. I am for this. I have talked to so many people. Sean Ryan, and I mention him all the time. He's talked about it as well, like years ago. So, I'm absolutely a proponent for it. So what, I guess now lead us into like, this is the cool shit. So now you have this foundation. How did you come about starting the SIREN Project? And then what's that been like and what's it doing?
So it's really sad that I get all the credit and I'm doing all the FaceTime for it, because really my husband has started and successfully ran many nonprofits. And he's the one that has the, CPA background, and he's just very
smart.
Yeah, but like administrative, business minded. Like he's just mindful. He has the fearlessness of, no, we just do it. Like, I don't know if it's how he grew up of if I want to do this, he's going to Harvard and getting his master's in history after being
so crazy
investment banker on Wall Street, fire captain. Like, he's just kind of like, oh no, if I want to do it, we just do it. And he's really the push motive behind it. I'm just the face and the guinea pig.
Okay.
One to go ugly early. So, yeah, we was like, let's do it. And of course, I had no idea how to do any of that. He just knew, and we just got our nonprofit, our 501c3 status, and just went from there. Luckily, he's a member of a special, like, privately owned FEMA team, and the owner for a few years was matching donations 3-1, and every once in a while he would do 10-1. So my husband worked a ton of overtime and probably put $70,000 towards the SIREN Project in matching donations to try to get enough money to get us off the ground and get us going. And thus far, we've sent 70 first responders through in our 2 years of being in existence. We have a pretty extensive wait list. Unfortunately, that program has stopped. So now we have to be big kids and figure out how to make real money and get real funding. But
so up till now, this was like, it was cost free. Like, people were able to just, it was just all on donations.
It's all been on donations matched by Tim's overtime. Pretty much that's how we funded it this far. And luckily with our alumni, we've had quite a few people that are like, this is amazing, I want to pay for my own trip, or they do like monthly donations. So we're getting more donations, mostly from alumni who are like grateful and want to pay it for the next people. And that's awesome. But we need to be big kids now and go out and get real donations.
So I guess walk us through, how does a person, if somebody listening to this is like, holy crap, like, I've listened to Rob's episode, now I'm listening to Angela talk about this. How do I do this? What's it look like for them? What's the process look like to even, I'm guessing there's an acceptance process or an application process?
There is. So if you go to the website, you can either email me or there's an application. You can fill it out and then I go through it. And there's certain things that may disqualify you, like certain health things, certain psychological things that are just safe for people to take the medicine. So they'll be disqualified. But that doesn't mean we just let you go off on your own. We try to help facilitate a different type of medicine or point you in the right direction for something that is safer for you. So you would apply and you go on our wait list. And then when your time comes up and you're rostered for whatever the retreat is, then we have a whole welcome packet that teaches people how to prepare with practices, mindfulness practices, meditation, breath work, cleaning up your diet, being aware, gratitude, just building a mindfulness practice, because it takes work to to maintain what you get from the medicine.
Hmm.
And then they're put in their tribes and they go through several coaching sessions, one-on-one, several coaching group sessions with their whole tribe, getting to know each other. And then they go to the retreat. I'll detail that in a minute. And then after the retreat, we also have one-on-one and group integration sessions. So with your coach one-on-one or with the group, everyone talking about their experiences now that they've been home and how they've been able to integrate or the problems they've had. We also have a support group going on. So anyone who goes through our tribe, their spouse, loved one, anybody they would like, a friend, to just be aware of them. We put them in a group where they can talk to each other because the spouses need support too. They're scared.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not for this medicine and they don't know what their loved one's going through. And so we like to be able to communicate with them because while they're in the retreat, they don't have their phone. And
Rob actually talked about that a little bit. Like when he came back, he even said his wife was like, hold on a minute. Like she'd spent years dealing with this Rob.
Yeah.
And now he's a better version of this Rob. I don't like to say people change. It's like become better versions of ourselves. Right. And that she's like, whoa, time the fuck out. Like this is not okay. And then I think that's awesome that that your foundation is doing that and recognizing that there's a spouse involved too, that has to now deal with this person.
Well, we also send spouses because we do have to heal the whole unit, right? You have this individual firefighter, but they've caused trauma at home to their loved ones as well. And if we have everything to heal, we need to heal a whole family unit. So we send spouses as well.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So how did you get, I mean, you went through this and for the record too, I want people to understand, like we kind of left it where Angela crosses the border into TJ. Like they're not just holed up in Tijuana, people. This place, like I've seen pictures on the website. It is beautiful.
Well, when I went to my retreat, it was in Tijuana. But
well, then I stand corrected.
It could have been shady. I don't know.
Right.
Now we go to Puerto Vallarta. So we have the same facility,
okay.
But she lives in Puerto Vallarta, and we do the retreats down there for a number of reasons. And then I'll get into that too. So when people go to retreat, they fly down there, they stay, they will pay for their own plane ticket. They do pay for their first night in a hotel. It's just easier for us to pick up everyone in the same place at the same time. We go to the house. Everyone gets their room assignments. Throughout the entire retreat, we're doing group exercises, talking things out, mindfulness exercises, some sort of therapeutic modality beyond just the medicine. And there's other medicines offered there like frappe. I can't remember the name of all of them, but they're all indigenous medicines that have been used safely and successfully for thousands of years. There's a lot of ceremony involved because, again, this is an authentic medicinal experience.
It's tribal.
It's tribal. We like to the roots of the medicine and the wisdom keepers that have used these for thousands of years to heal people. So that's how we do it. It's why we choose to do it in Mexico. There's something to, like, anyone who drinks wine will tell you, if you drink this glass of wine here versus across the country, it's going to taste different. So it's kind of the same mentality of the medicine is from here, so we're going to take it here in the place where it's from. And you'll hear the term set and setting, your mindset going into it, and the setting you're in plays a big part on your journey and what you can get out of it. And we think taking the pilgrimage to Mexico, as well as being in Mexico and having this whole ceremonial experience, really does affect the setting and your mindset. And that can improve, we think, your whole experience. So then they'll do the next day, they'll do hero dose of psilocybin as a group outside. And they might get an extra round partly through if the medicine man thinks that you need it. We have a live musician who plays music the whole time. We have multiple space holders, almost a 1-to-1 ratio of our 8 participants between everyone there. They do need help going to the bathroom, or sometimes we have guys who want to fight. Usually one of our guys who holds space is like an ex-SEAL Team 6 operator, or we have one guy who was like the UK champion for UFC.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I want to know. I'd like to know those names when we get offline. I don't want to say it. I genuinely don't want to say it on here. I want to protect that.
No. It's mostly because, I mean, some of our guys, police and fire, have skills, like hand-to-hand skills, and they're big boys. And it is our job to keep them safe because, again, these shouldn't be recreational medicines. People go in there. You can endanger yourself on these medicines if you're not in a safe setting with people that can help you if you're struggling. So we create that safe setting with that. And then the next day after psilocybin, they'll do the toad. one-on-one individually. But we cover everything, the facility, the medicine, everything there. We have a doctor on site who, just in case something happens, someone has a cardiac event, whatever, just to keep it safe. There's a medical screening. I forgot about that beforehand. Before you even show up, you have to pass a medical. We also do a drug test when people get there, because people are not always honest about their last use of X, Y, and Z. And
Right.
for the safety, again, of the medicine, the serotonin syndrome is a real thing. You really do need to get off of a lot of medications, and you shouldn't have any drugs in your system
Right.
before you take these medicines. This is serious. So we take it that way. And so then we go psilocybin, next day, the toad. And then the day after the toad, we have an excursion day to just kind of relax and let it all sink in. And then the day after that, they go home. We would love if everyone just wanted to stay another week and help their paint dry in their mind,
Right.
the clay set. But that's not real life. People have to get back to their life.
Well, I could tell you, looking at this place that I've seen online, I'd stay there for another week. Like, this place is, and again, I want people to understand, this is not some shack on a beach. This is a very, I mean, it looks to me like you're literally in a private resort is what it looks like to me.
It's a mansion. And we actually, the one on the website, we haven't been there. We're going to another site. It's actually, we think, prettier. Go further out because it has a sweat lodge. The one online that we've been using, it doesn't have a sweat lodge. So we're going to a different facility it's even a nicer mansion.
Wow. Okay.
Lodge, because that adds to the purging, right? Your body just getting everything out. Yep.
Absolutely. Such good stuff. Like, so how then, I guess as we wrap this up, how do people start this? If there's people out there that are like I'm at my wit's end, and I mean, plug the shit out of the SIREN Project websites, contact. I'm serious, like all of it, because this is going to go up on my LinkedIn, and I've got like a whopping 94 connections. So,
so we have the website, which is the sirenproject.org. And then we're also on, if you go to that, there are links for Facebook and Instagram, which we would vary the name to make it work for the hashtag, whatever. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to be under me, Angela Levine Graham, because you have to attach it to a real person.
Yeah.
Go there. You can contact me through any of these. I've had people contact me on Instagram and find out how they apply. But if you go to the website, you can contact me or apply. And then from there, I will usually get back to you within 48 hours, and I will give you a welcome packet that has tools that will help you. So if you're struggling, take the tools seriously and start utilizing them until we can get you into retreat. The wait list right now, as it stands, is a ways out. So we're trying to raise funds to get more retreats in, to get people through faster.
And I guess that brings me to this point. How do people donate? On
the website, we have PayPal and we have Zelle, and there's just a button that you can hit, and you can, or you can mail a check. The website also has an address if you'd rather mail a paper check.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say, I mean, look, and the people that I've talked to that are familiar with this foundation, and then talking to you, like, I would strongly encourage listeners to if you need the help, check it out. And if you know somebody, check it out. And obviously, you're running into some financial things where your husband can't just keep working overtime the rest of his life to fund this, right? Like, that's just, what an incredible human being to even hear that. I mean, the man has worked a shit ton of overtime so that people don't have to pay to go. Like, what an amazing dude! Like, that's awesome. So, I guess what's that?
That's why I married him.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
What's up with me?
Right. I mean, I saw him in the background. I might want to marry him. I mean, come on. I don't swing that way, but I mean, whatever. I mean, if you're going to work that hard. Oh, I love it. But all right. Well, Angela, thank you so much for I mean, we've taken us a couple months to get here. There's with the technical issues, but here we are.
My, difficulties.
Yeah. Yeah. You have our emails. We tell everybody this. We would love to keep in touch. We're already connected on LinkedIn. But even just keeping in touch, we still text with Rob every now and then to check, just to kind of BS back and forth, as well as other guests. So I would love to keep that connection going as well. So thank you again for coming on here. And I guess with that, thank you all for listening. Check out the SIREN Project. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Again, we're not making money at this. We're not paying Angela, because I'm unemployed right now. Not going to lie. Only for another 2 weeks. It's just, it helps us if people are following Shielded Voices. I don't have to send out 500 text messages saying that there's a new episode out. You just get it. And this episode was awesome. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally went from childhood stuff to pissing through a funnel to like smoking dope through a glass pipe. I mean, we've covered it all. Let's be honest.
We could go for another hour, but
easily.
There either. I have all these stats for like firefighter suicide and how it's all up, but it's pretty bad. Like I said, it's up 500% from 20 years ago, and it's heartbreaking. So if anybody wants to help us out, clearly whatever therapy is available is not working. So we need something new. So vote for this if it comes out in your area and you have a chance to vote.
Yes. And it's my understanding there was not too long ago, there was a 60 Minutes episode, I believe, that covered this kind of treatment, right? And
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's my understanding that the DoD is kind of leaning towards this, like, hey, there's something to this.
The veterans have done a phenomenal job at taking care of their people and pushing this at the higher levels to make it accessible for the veterans. Because again, you have Vets and Heroic Hearts projects that have been around for like a decade. Mm-hmm. And that was 60 Minutes was through Heroic Hearts, but the facilitator, Andrea Lucy, is our facilitator. Yeah. And we started this actually with her help and her guidance, because there are no nonprofits out there when we started for first responders. We are the only show in town that are facilitating retreats and funding them for first responders. We're on the coattails of the veterans. So thank you, veterans.
Yes.
For paving the way.
Yeah. And I personally, Mitch and I both personally know people that have done similar treatments. It works. It works.
It really does. You can't do it.
Yep. Yeah. And I jest about being scared out of my mind, because that's the truth. It would scare the shit out of me, but
I'm scared. You can do it. I promise I'll die. I can.
Right. That's all that matters to me. Like, the world needs me. I don't know if you know this.
People are really afraid of are their demons. And I think most people who go through it, the demons they face are not what they expected, but I promise you will not die.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you again. Go enjoy the rest of the afternoon with your family, and we will be in touch, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being vulnerable too. Appreciate that.
Yes, for sure.